import matplotlib. And specifically in matplotlib as a class, we usually use Python plots. So you can get this as so this one is going to go first, then we learn datasets, then second and matplotlib basically for visualizations. Guys behind, can you see people here? By the way, for some. Okay. Now, after us having this, the first step, I will go to first of all read our files. So we have different packages depending on the location of your file. So it can be that the file is in the same folder with your code, or the file is outside that folder. So for my case here, we can see that the diamond's new, the one which I'm using, is in the same folder, which I call practical. So if they're in the same folder, first of all, get to look at the extension so that we can know whether it is a CSV, it is a TXT, or it is an Excel workbook. So here, I'm having an Excel, so I can say that I'm going to call it my data. You can say that my data equals to, since pandas is being called PD, here I can say PD dot read, then I choose from this. So am I reading a JSON file, am I reading CSV, am I reading Excel, or any other formats? So for my case here, we are reading an Excel. That's why I'm opting for that. Okay? Because this extension here is for Excel. So if I say read Excel, we shall open this, and then I usually find it easier if I go to here times just to get the right spellings. So I feel like I'm renaming this. Then I copy the same spelling and I paste it here so that it doesn't cause errors because of the file name. So after reading that, then I can present the head. So head means the top 5 rows. So if I say that as the head, meaning that I'm reading the top 5 rows. So connecting to my environment. Okay, so this is what I have in my data set. But we have to be keen about the head function. So head is a function in pandas, but we see that when I say that I'm head, it prints the top 5, but I can override it. So if I put 10 in here, that means it will print the top 10, which is this. So we can see that the index is from 0 to 9. So it is printing the top 10. That means you may find the screenshot read just like this. So the screen should go all just this code snippet, and they are telling you to explain what that means. Are we together here? So this just prints the top 10 rows. So if you are not, this is for top 10. Anyone with a suggestion for the bottom? The bottom 10? Bottom 10? Any ideas? Head is for top 10. Head is for at the top 5. Then head into 10 is for the top 10. What about bottom 10? Yes? Any ideas? Bottom? Bottom is incorrect. Yes? Tail? Tail is okay. So if we say that as a tail, and here I put a 10, so by default tail returns the bottom 5. I think you can see this. So when we override it here to put a value, even if I say 7, so that one will print the bottom 7 values, 7 rows, sorry. So just for purposes of documentation, allow me to comment here that I'm trying to print the top 10 rows. Okay? Then down here, you can say that I am printing the bottom 7 rows. Okay? So we started by read, and we say read function can change, it can vary. Okay? Depending. Then after getting the read function, we say it can either be, we can read head or we can read tail. Are we together up to there? Before we do manipulating this data. We are together? Okay. So after getting the head and tail, am I too fast? Yes. Yes. Okay. We can take value for taking. We have head, tail. Maybe as you're taking that, let me try to look for another data set that we can use. If I have to. Okay, so right, let's pay attention here. Now, remember we say we can read different files depending on the extension. So this was an Excel. So we can just try down here reading the CSV file. So I can just mark down it. Like say we are reading a CSV. Now, reading a CSV, you can say quote data equals to PD, which is pandas dot read CSV, because I'm going to be reading a CSV file. Then in here, remember we said that either we can read a file in the same folder or we can read a file that is outside that folder. So in our first example here, this file Diamonds New is in the same folder. Now the file I want to read is in my downloads. I want to read all code spelling case template. Yeah. So if I try to copy path, can I have it here? Yes, copy as path. So if I copy that path from the folder where it is, and then I come, I paste that path here, I think you can see what it gives. Yeah? So it has to be in the single. So I get something like this. So I'm trying to pick it from another folder, not in the same folder. So here we have two alternatives. If we run this thing, it will bring an error. But we have two alternatives. The first one is making sure that these forward slashes are 2. Okay, we make them doubles to avoid that error. So what we do, I'm using Ctrl D so that I highlight all of them, then I make them 2. So when I make them 2 and I run, the error doesn't come. Then option number 2, if I don't make them double, I make this one a backward slash. So I'm going to do the same thing then. I change it to backward, a single backward slash. So we see that the error disappears. I'm reading from another folder, not my working folder. But we either make 2 forward slashes as path, or we use 1 backward slash to avoid that error. So we see that here, after me reading this code data, I can come here and I get the head, code data.head. When I run it, I think we can see what it is returning. Patongo, Amulu, Humani, and the rest. Okay? Then here, also when I read this one is tail. I think we can see that. Okay? So that is the trick. Why this is important? Most cases, when datasets are uploaded here, you may find that it is uploaded in some folder and you're working from another folder. So at least you should be having a technique of how to read this dataset from one folder to another, because it being an exam, you will just be looked at without any hope. So it's better to practice both, picking it from the other folder or picking from the same folder. So I think there is nothing different or any other approaches to this. So that's how we can read those files. Any questions? So I've tested with CSVs and Excel. That means we are in position to be flexible to any of the two. We'll say what changes is the method. You can either read CSV or read Excel. Okay? Alright. Can we move on? Yes, please.
The statement that we have
Pardon?
for the statement we have that we need water to
The packages?
yes.
Yes.
If we are going to use, we have to include the every.
Not really. It depends on what you are going to use. Yeah? So, I'm using Seaborn and Matplotlib because I'm hoping to do some visualizations. So that means here I don't need of bringing in a scalar because I don't need it here. I just need the two. Maybe one other important thing, times we had import warnings. And then down here we find something like warnings, dot filter warnings. Then inside here we have something like ignore. So you find that that line is also common. Yeah? In maybe that all some share notices. So you find that as time goes on, some packages start to expire. Yeah? Then as you're loading something, it starts to bring some warnings. So here what we are doing, we're trying to make our work clean by ignoring warnings. So in case it wants to expire, or it's about to expire, or it is warning about any update, all that is not displayed. Because we are saying we are ignoring any warnings in our notebook. So mainly, that's why I included these. Then to see that it is being used, I think you can see. PD here is highlighted, but these ones here are not highlighted because I'm not using them anywhere. So that is not working. Okay? Do you have any questions? Any questions? Yes, please. Yeah? The CSV? This one? Okay. Okay, this is what is happening. Guys, let's be silent. This is what is happening. We have different file formats. Yes? Now you see that you can read the zip file here. A Word document, a PDF. Yes? Now, what is happening is that we are going to be doing analysis, or we are going to find some probabilities using these data sets. But we find that some people save as Excel, then some save as CSVs. Yes? Now, when we are reading using patterns, we see that just by you typing, maybe if I say, just by you typing pd.read, are you seeing? pd.read. So it is returning any file format it can read. So it can read a GBQ, it can read from the clipboard, it can read a CSV file, an Excel, Feather, PDF, HDF, HTML, JSON. That means it is in position to read all those files. Yeah? But in most cases, we don't get exposed to CSV, and then we just use Excel. Yeah? So I just wanted to test the two. In case you get come across the CSV, how do you read it? So the technique is that you just choose. If the file is a comma separated value, you know it is a CSV, so I choose. If the extension is .xslx, you know it is an Excel. Yeah? Yeah, so that is what I was doing here. Then for this value we are seeing here, we said that is when we are picking from a folder that is not our folder. So for me, I'm picking from my downloads. Yes? So that's why I'm copying it, and I'm saying that if we pick from an external folder, we either make those, because it comes with one /. So we either make them two, though we are seeing this, or we just change it to be /. So that is the technique. If you don't do that, you will just generate an error. Okay? Can we proceed? Okay, so we may need to look at the shape of our data. For example, here I'm using diamonds as my data. So we come down here and we say data dot shape. Okay? So it is giving us this value. Anyone who can explain it? Data dot shape. Yes?
Because these are showing the number of rows and then the next the number of columns.
Perfect. Number of rows and number of columns. So that means it is returning a tuple having the rows and then the columns. Okay? Now, after us knowing the rows and columns we are having in this tuple, this is just this, rows and columns. We may need to know the D type. So we may have data.D type. Okay. Okay, so when I use data.D types, I think we can see that result. I think this is straightforward. So data types, that is when you are required to state the different data types for the columns. For example, price, the values there are integers, carat, they are float, cat, they are categorical, so they are object, color is categorical, clarity is categorical, depth is a float, table is a float. I think the rest are floats. So we can see that yes, we can conclude that we say that this data set is made up of numerical and categorical values. But I've used D types to come to that conclusion. So I know that I'm dealing with categorical and numerical, what are sample continuous variables. Okay? So you can also take on that.